Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, where tonight the Cincinnati Reds meet the Atlanta Braves in Game 2 of a 3-game series. In 1983, in a game for the high school championship of the state of Massachusetts, Tom Glavine and the Billerica Indians defeated Pete Smith and the Burlington Red Devils 7-6. Later that summer, in an American Legion game, an American Legion team from Burlington beat an American Legion team from Billerica 2-1 as Pete Smith outdueled Tom Glavine. And now 12 years later, they finally get to meet in a major league ballpark. Kind of a unique story, Joe.
Unbelievable. It's not too often that 12 years go by before you get the rubber game of the 3-game series, but it's going to happen tonight. And as you know, the Braves are struggling. They have not hit the ball well of late, and for Pete Smith, who's got a lot of friends in the Braves clubhouse, it's unfortunate that they're going to be trying to clobber him tonight to try to get back on the right track. He's pitched well in his one start that he's made this year for the Reds, but Braves don't care about that. They need to score some runs, and it's unfortunate that Pete is the guy that may be victimized tonight.
And one unique note about the Cincinnati lineup tonight, all 5 former Braves on this Cincinnati team will start, or all 4 former Braves playing for Cincinnati will start tonight for the Reds. We'll be back with the lineups and all the action right after this.
It's been mostly cloudy and overcast here in Atlanta today as we get set for Game 2 of this 3-game series between the Braves and the Cincinnati Reds. But hopefully the rains will stay away as the Braves take the field. Here's the lineup they will face tonight. The Tylenol starting lineup for Davy Johnson, Deion Sanders, Barry Larkin, and Ron Gant. That's all the same from a night ago. But Brian Hunter's in the lineup to hit cleanup at first base. Brett Boone moves up to the 5 spot. Reggie Sanders still in right field. Mark Lewis will be at third base. He'll bat 7th. Damon Berryhill, the former Brave, hits 8th, and he will catch his former teammate Pete Smith, who will be on the mound. For the Braves defensively, Jones, Grissom, and Smith from left to right. Oliva and Blauser on the left side. Belliard still filling in for Mark Lemke at second. McGriff at first. Javi Lopez back behind the plate tonight, and on the mound, Tom Glavine will make his 4th start of the year. He's 1-1, an ERA of 3.78. But the story about Tom Glavine has been his first inning woes last year and this year. When you look at his numbers, 18 is his ERA in the first inning. That's because in the first inning, in his first 3 starts, he's allowed 6 runs on 7 hits and 4 walks. The rest of his innings work, 13 2/3, he's allowed only 1 run on 7 hits while walking 6 and striking out 5. Maybe he can get off to a good start tonight, Pete, and avoid those first inning blues.
Well, I know he'd like to, because he and Pete Smith both looking forward very much to meeting each other in a major league ball game. They did pitch against each other in spring training once, but those games don't have any significance, so this is the first time they've squared off against each other in 12 years. Deion Sanders leads it off for Cincinnati, hitting .206 on the year with a homer and 3 RBIs. He'll be followed by Barry Larkin, and then Ron Gant. We're underway. The first pitch on the way to Deion, who is squaring and takes a strike. Bob Davidson calling the balls and strikes tonight. Steve Ripley will call the plays at first, Rich Riker at second, and Jim Quick over at third. Both teams coming in with identical records. Each team has won 7, each team has lost 8. That's in for a strike on 2. It's how they got to be 7 and 8 that's a little bit of a different story. The Reds, off to a very slow start, lost their first 6. They've won 7 of their last 9. The Braves off to a very fast start, but now have lost 7 of their last 8. Here's the 0-2 now to Deion Sanders, taken high, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, we knew that he had been working on his bunting, but not to the extent that he might actually try to bunt with 2 strikes on him.
I'm a little surprised Jose Oliva continues to play in the grass. With the count 1-2. That evens the count 2-2.
One thing for Glavine is his record against the Reds, and it's been very good. 2-1 last year against Cincinnati, but 16-5 lifetime.
Oddly enough, all 5 of those losses have come here. He's 12-0 against the Reds in Cincinnati. Fly ball, shallow right center field. Long run for Dwight Smith. Can't get to it. Base hit for Deion Sanders. And the Reds have their leadoff man on here in the top half of the first inning. And Cincinnati likes to run. They lead the National League with 21 stolen bases, and atop the individual column in the National League is that man, Deion Sanders.
Your Hardy's leaderboard in stolen bases has him tied with Gary Sheffield of the Marlins at 7. A little surprising to see Sheffield up that high, too, at this stage.
Now Barry Larkin hitting .377 on the year. He has a couple of home runs, 12 RBIs. One ball, no strikes on Larkin.
And already one thing that has caused some changes or adjustments for Tom Glavine with Dion at first. He went to the slide step. He doesn't often use that approach from his stretch position. He prefers the higher leg kick. Tried to shorten up in case he was running.
Over to first, back safely, Dion.
Larkin with 2 doubles last night gives him 4 on the year already to go with 2 triples and 2 homers.
There's a strike in the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. A little bit of a different start for Barry Larkin this year.
Absolutely. Last year, fighting through some injuries, including a hand and a wrist injury that got him off to a slow start.
Well, he was unable last year in the early going to try to pull the ball. He had to try to go the opposite way with every swing. And you can see the start he got off to, just 235 at the end of May last year. And hit for very little power the first couple of months. This one hit deep to left center field. Back goes Grissom. He looks up, and 2 more first inning runs off Tom Glavine as the Reds jump on top 2-0. Third homer of the year for Larkin. RBIs number 13 and 14.
A bloop and a bomb. Watch the leverage on the swing by Larkin when you take a look at the home run stroke, because he was back on his back leg, got some extension, and really drove this ball that was up and away from him to straightaway center field. Tommy knew it before it ever dropped over.
And now Ron Gant, who had the game-winning home run last night. 277, 5 homers now, 15 RBIs. Got a good cut at that one. Fouling it back, the count 0-1.
This Reds team, as you can see, playing with a lot of confidence. They've won 6 in a row. Everybody that goes to the plate digging in a little bit deeper, Pete.
Here's the 0-1. And there's a strike in the outside corner, 0-2. Deion Sanders, Ron Gant, Brian Hunter, Damon Berryhill, and Pete Smith, all former Braves, in the Reds lineup tonight. All were a part of those Braves pennant-winning teams in 91 and 92. A little bit high, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Nobody out, 2 runs in after Larkin's 2-run homer. Two and 2 now on Gant.
Last night, Pete, when there were some mistakes made late in the ball game by the bullpen, it seemed like every pitch that was made upstairs, the Reds really capitalized on it. Any mistake up there, they really hit hard, and Larkin did the same thing to Glavine.
Still 2 and 2. And now the 2-2 on the way, and he misses outside with a fastball. Full count, 3 and 2. Brian Hunter waits to hit next. The 3-2 on the way, and he walked him. So more first inning woes for Tom Glavine. 2 runs already in, still nobody out. A runner at first, and Brian Hunter coming to the plate. Hunter's only been up 15 times this year. He's 3 for 15. No homers yet, 3 RBIs.
He hasn't been getting to play a whole lot, but Hal Morris is struggling, and Davey Johnson's going to let him sit a day against the left-handed starter. Ryan's certainly takes up a lot of that batter's box these days.
Yes, he's Always been a stocky guy, but he looks like he's gained a few pounds since his Atlanta days.
Yeah, one of the Reds coaches told me he thought he was at about 245 or 250 now, and
that's about 20 pounds heavier than he was when he was here.
That's a lot.
0-1 the count. There's your runner at first, Ron Gant. And the 0-1 to Hunter is pop foul back into the crowd. The count 0-2. Brett Boone waiting on deck.
Comes out and does his running before everybody else to try to trim down a little bit. That extra work, he's going to have to do a little extra work pushing away from the table, looks like.
Here's the 0-2, and it's low and outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Hunter has had some at-bats against Glavine after leaving the Braves. He's 1 for 6 against Tom. Going to first, Gant back safely.
He's still a middle-of-the-plate in hitter. I was watching him in batting practice yesterday, and he was launching a lot of balls into the seats, generating a lot of bat speed, but as we saw in the past, he was prone to chasing some change-ups occasionally from left-handers and sometimes some high fastballs.
Stays alive with a count of 1-2. Chipper Jones playing him very, very deep in left field. He's only a couple of steps shy of the warning track out there.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised Marquise is not playing more to pull. Marquise doesn't like to overplay anybody, though.
No, he doesn't. He plays almost everybody in that almost straightaway zone. A ball, 2 strikes, the count on Brian Hunter. Strike 3 call, inside corner at the knees. Hunter with a couple of parting words to plate umpire Bob Davidson. Out number 1 here in the top of the first.
Not a bad-looking pitch. Brian had just decided that he was only going to get something middle of the plate away, and that pitch looked inside when it hit the corner.
Now Brett Boone will hit. The Reds' second baseman at .333 in the early going with a homer and 3 RBIs. He's hit safely in all but 2 of the Reds' games this year. Again, Gant chased back. Gant with 3 stolen bases and as many tries.
Boone will surprise you with the pop in his bat, too, as we saw last night when he drove a ball to, I believe it was right center field.
Again to first, again Gant back. Gant says that he really doesn't feel any differently about his running speed since recovering from that broken leg. Still feels he's going to be able to go out and steal 25 or 30 bases. A ball, no strikes on Brett Boone.
He has said that his straightaway speed, he doesn't feel any difference in it, and it's not difficult for him to run straight ahead after a ball in the outfield or running the bases, but when he has to come to a quick stop or he has to be careful rounding a base hard, the way he plants on it and twists, that's where he's still a little touchy about how he goes about that.
He's going to throw to first. McGriff down to second base, cannot connect with Jeff Blauser. And in safely is Ron Gant. They had him with a good throw, but the throw by McGriff sailed off to the third base side of second. And Jeff Blauser unable to come up with it. Gant in safely, and that'll be a stolen base, his 4th.
You can see the sidearm delivery. It tailed a little bit on Jeff, and he was going to have to hurry to get the tag down there anyway. As the ball came out of McGriff's hands, he was trying to hurry it down there and threw a good sinker.
So Gant down at second now with 1 out, a count of 1 ball, no strikes on Brett Boone. That's over at the knees for a strike, 1-1. Braves are going to have to keep a closer eye on runners at second. They have had third base stolen on them 8 times already this year. One ball, 1 strike on Boone. Upstairs with the fastball, 2-1. This has got to be baffling to Tom Glavine.
I think it would be very frustrating. because of the different approaches he's taken to warming up for a ball game, and you know that he thinks about it when he goes out there, that he's not going to let it happen again. He's going to get off to a good start. And once again, 2 more runs here in the first, and he's only recorded 1 out so far.
Pickoff play is on. Belliard sneaking in behind Gant, but Ron got back safely. Count still 2-1 on Brett Boone.
You were talking about the steals of third. Last night, the Reds stole 4 bases, stole third twice, and we've talked about how the pitchers have got to do a better job of giving the base runners back their different looks. Infielders have got to help them too. They've got to, even if there's not a throw back there, they've got to at least bluff like they're coming to cover, just to take their eye off the pitcher.
Here's the 2-1 on the outside corner, 2-2.
If you're thinking about stealing, and that one of those middle infielders, there you see, wow, the numbers against Tom in the first inning for the average. And the third base coach is yelling, he's got to be aware that infielder darting behind you, and he yells back, then that's going to take a little bit of your approach to stealing away.
There's another ball driven deep to right center. Marquise Grissom gets there for the catch. Ron Gant not tagging. He thought the ball had a chance to get in the gap, and he was halfway to third, had to go back. So that's out number 2. The runner remains at second, and the batter will be Reggie Sanders, who comes in at 235 with a homer and 6 RBIs. Reggie Sanders starting to get on track now offensively. He had an 0-for-19 skid already early in the year when the Reds were off to that 0-6 start. Two gone. Gant, the runner at second. Good changeup. The count 0-1 on Reggie Sanders.
I've got an idea. Next week when Tom pitches against the Marlins next Thursday, or I'm sorry, against the Rockies, we'll just have the scoreboard operator put a 2 up there when he takes the mound, and he can pretend it's already the second inning.
There's the 0-1 on the way. High pop-up. McGriff is going to have all kinds of room. Drifting back into fair territory now for the catch. And that's all for Cincinnati. Well, they got it out of the way early. A 2-run homer by Barry Larkin, giving the Reds a 2-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the first.
Tom Glavine hangs his head after giving up 2 more runs in the first inning. Pete Smith staked to an early lead. Here's the Braves lineup tonight. Grissom, Blauser, and Jones, the first 3. Fred McGriff in the cleanup spot. Smith, Oliva, and Lopez. Belliard hits 8th. Tom Glavine, the pitcher, bats 9th. Defensively, a lot of changes for the Reds tonight. Gant, Sanders, and Sanders is still the same in the outfield, but Mark Lewis is at third, Larkin at short, Brett Boone at second, Brian Hunter's at first base, Damon Berryhill behind the plate, and Pete Smith on the mound, 29 years old, 6'2", 200-pounder out of Burlington, Mass.
His second start of the year. He's also made 3 relief appearances, and he starts out Marquise Grissom with a called strike. Marquise just 179 in the early going with 6 RBIs, only 1 hit in his last 20 trips. Takes one inside, 1-1. Pete Smith has a victory against the Braves. He got that as a New York Met last year. Two and 1 the count. Now the 2-1 pitch on the way, and that's high in the air to straightaway center. Deion Sanders waits for it out there. 1 down. Grissom flies to center. That'll bring up Jeff Blauser. With the Braves only hitting .229 as a team, that ranks next to last in the National League. Blauser, one of the few guys right now, his average has been going up. He has a 6-game hitting streak up to .276 for the year. Still no RBIs for Blauser. That's unusual to see that this late in the year.
You mentioned that .229 team average. That's bad enough. You threw out the first game where they had 12 runs and 17 hits. They're hitting .213 as a team.
Here's the 1-0. And the breaking ball's low and away, ball 2-2-0. Talked to Pete Smith earlier tonight, and he said he really feels good this year. He's had some arm troubles on and off throughout his career. Wow, I didn't realize it was that many days. That's a whole season.
Last year with the Mets, 4-10. An ERA of 5.55.
In for a strike in the count, 3-1. In the air to left field. Ron Gant started back, now comes in and to his left to make the catch for out number 2.
When the Reds signed Pete Smith, they had ideas of him being in their rotation. He pitched well in spring training, went 2-0, but started the season in the bullpen and pitched so well there they couldn't wait to get him back out in the starting rotation, where 8 innings out of the bullpen did not allow an earned run. And really it was his start against the Mets on May 6th that turned this team around.
Chipper Jones, first pitch swinging into left center field. Deion Sanders there for that one. And 3 fly balls, and the Braves are gone 1-2-3 in the bottom half of the first. After 1, Cincinnati up 2-0. Two-0 as we go to the top half of the second. A called strike to Mark Lewis leading it off. He's the third baseman, hitting .286 with a couple of RBIs. Played with the Cleveland Indians on and off for the last 3 years. One thing about the Cincinnati Reds, and this has been true of their franchise for a long, long time, they seem to either trade for or sign or draft a lot of hometown products. And here's another one, Mark Lewis from Hamilton, Ohio. That's a suburb of Cincinnati. Pete Rose, Ken Griffey, Chris Sabo. There's a strike, 1-2.
It's Barry Larkin also.
Barry Larkin's from Cincinnati. Rob Dibble.
Pedro Borbon.
No.
Oh, maybe not.
There's the 1-2, foul back. It remains 1-2 on Mark Lewis. Reds using a trio of players at third. Lenny Harris, Jeff Branson, and Mark Lewis all playing that position. They've combined to hit .290 on the season.
Willie Green started in that spot.
Yep.
I kept thinking that this was his year to take over, but got off to a bad start.
And he is back at AAA with Indianapolis. 2-2 the count now on Mark Lewis.
Lewis was a first-round pick by the Indians, second player overall in the '88 draft. He was a little bit like Willie Green for the Reds, and that kept waiting for some signs of being a number 1 pick.
Second strikeout for Tom Glavine, 1 gone in the top of the second. Before the game, there was a presentation by the Rawlings Company of the Gold Glove Awards. The 2 Braves, Greg Maddux winning his 5th, and Marquise Grissom also winning a Gold Glove for their defensive play last year. Here's Damon Berryhill, just 1 for 7 on the year. He should get a little more playing time now with Benito Santiago out of action. He went on the disabled list, Santiago did, with an ailing elbow. So Eddie Taubensee and Damon Berryhill, the catching platoon right now for the Reds.
Damon got a big hit for the Reds the other night down in Florida in that 15-inning game, won the ball game.
Pops this one up right side of the infield. Belliard coming over. McGriff calls him off. And very quickly, 2 down in the top of the second. It is just baffling how Tom Glavine can struggle in the first inning and then just 1 inning later seem to be in complete command again. Now Pete Smith. This has got to be like a dream come true for both Pete Smith and Tom Glavine. You think about playing against each other in high school and American Legion. There was one other major leaguer in that Burlington Billerica State Championship game in '83. The shortstop on Tom Glavine's team was Gary DiSarcina, who now plays for the California Angels. But oddly enough, Tom told me that his best sport in high school, and well, we all know this, is hockey. He was a draftee of the LA Kings, and Gary DiSarcina's best sport in high school was basketball.
No kidding.
Said he was a point guard on the basketball team there, and a real good one. That's all for Pete Smith. Tom Glavine gets him 1-2-3, his 3rd strikeout. And we go to the bottom half of inning 2, 2-0 Reds.
This is what's on deck for the Braves, brought to you by Armor All Deck Protector. The Reds close out their series with the Braves tomorrow afternoon here at 1:05 on TBS. That'll be Steve Avery against John Smiley. And then the Rockies come to town. We'll have the first two games Monday and Tuesday for you on TBS beginning at 7:35. First two matchups against the Rockies, Kent Merker against Omar Oliveras. John Smoltz will then be opposed by Juan Acevedo on Tuesday.
And we look forward to seeing that Colorado team. They are 11-4.
And scoring runs by the bushel.
Well, here's Fred McGriff to lead off the bottom half of inning 2. He's at 193 for the year. Hit his 4th homer of the season last night. He's driven in 12. That home run he hit last night, his only hit in his last 20 at-bats. As the Braves have several players trying to battle their way out of slumps. Ball 1 to count on Fred McGriff.
Tail of the tape was, what, 446?
446 feet. He got all of it.
He'd like to chop it up.
Odd thing about McGriff this year is the number of double plays he's hit into. All of last year, Fred McGriff grounded into 8 double plays. This year, he's already grounded into 6.
Might tell you a little bit about his timing and just the fact that he's coming over the top of the ball a little bit.
Count goes to 2-1.
That a pretty good indication on that swing. He's ahead 2-0. Got an off-speed pitch and still chased it way out of the zone. Not like him.
Now the 2-1 delivery, and this fouled off. Evening the count, 2-2. Dwight Smith will follow, and then Jose Oliva. 2-0. Cincinnati up on the Barry Larkin home run in the first inning.
Pete Smith moves his fastball around, has a good curve and a changeup.
High in the air to left center. Another fly ball out as Deion Sanders makes the catch. 4 fly balls in a row hit by the Braves, 3 to Deion Sanders, and 1 out here in the bottom of the second for Dwight Smith. Hitting .333, a homer and 4 RBIs. He's done a good job filling in for David Justice offensively. Last night, one of the few games he's played in with Justice out where he went hitless. Takes a breaking ball high, ball 1. Justice still probably won't play in this series. They're talking now about possibly the Colorado series for David. Ryan Klesko is on a rehab assignment with Greenville. He's eligible to come off the disabled list the 18th. And of course, Mark Lemke's still banged up and not playing. So the Braves playing a little short-handed right now. In the air to right center field. Nobody's going to catch up to this one. It bounces off the wall. On his way to second, Dwight Smith, and he'll be in with a stand-up double.
He's 9 for his last 24, including 3 doubles now, a triple and a homer. He's been doing a good job of getting on top of some high pitches. This is one. And drove down and threw it. Well, that ball took off like a shot.
So the Braves have their first base runner against Pete Smith. The batter will be Jose Oliva, hitting .222 with 3 homers, 5 RBIs. He's another one that's been in a bit of a slump. 6 for his last 32, and he's also been in a bit of a defensive slump with 5 errors in his last 7 games. Off the end of the bat, slowly toward short. Larkin on to first. Low throw. Covered by Brian Hunter. Safe. Runners first and third. Joe, do you think that Dwight Smith running in front of Barry Larkin just before he fielded that ball may have upset his timing just a bit on that throw?
It could have, Pete. Larkin has not made an error this year, but it really looked like on that replay that Smith was by him far enough that it shouldn't have. He just didn't stand up and fire it. He just kind of lollipopped it over there and threw a sinker, much like Fred McGriff threw to second earlier.
So the Braves get a break. Runners first and third with 1 out. Let's see if Atlanta can capitalize on this. Javi Lopez, the batter, hitting .304. Couple of home runs, 7 RBIs. 1 man out. Missed a breaking ball. The count 0-1. Pete Smith has always had a good curveball.
First 7 games of the season, Pete, the Braves were doing a good job of getting runners home, at least when they had some out in scoring position. But even in the last 9 games, when they've had a guy out there, they can't get the big hit or even a single, let's say, to get 1 run across. Let's hope that changes tonight.
You saw Smith at third, Oliva at first. And the 0-1 pitch to Lopez, missing outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. When you go into a losing streak like the Braves have been in, losing 7 of the last 8, it's never just one facet of the game that is letting you down. There's been a lot of talk about the Braves bullpen, and certainly the Braves bullpen has been disappointing, but it's been more than just the bullpen. The team hasn't hit and has not hit in clutch situations.
Right.
Count goes to 2-1.
There have also been a few extra guys on base with some errors, and from a defensive standpoint, the inability to hold some runners on base too. Stolen bases have taken their toll. But all in all, there's still only 1 game under 500 through all this.
Well, that's the good part.
We've only played 15 ball games, so through all the injuries that they've had to fight through here for the past week especially, you can certainly add that to the list of reasons.
The count 2-1 on Lopez. 1 man out, runners first and third. And the 2-1 pitch on the way, off the end of the bat, foul. 2-2. Pete Smith feeding Javi Lopez a steady diet of breaking balls.
What was the other irony you told me about on their matchup, Pete Smith and Tommy Glavine, with their nicknames?
Yeah, Tom Glavine playing for the Billerica Indians. He went from the Indians to becoming a Brave. And Pete Smith playing for the Burlington Red Devils, went from the Red Devils to Cincinnati Red.
Something else.
There's your runner at third, Dwight Smith. Oliva at first. Here's the 2-2. Didn't mean to, and fouls it off. Still 2-2. Rafael Belliard waiting on deck.
Two count. You know, Bobby would like to stay out of the double play here and get a run home somehow. But he's going to have to rely on Lopez to put it in play if that happens, and treat it like a hit and run if he sends Oliva 2-2.
Over the first, Pete Smith.
Jose not a base stealing threat.
Damon Berryhill may be telling Pete Smith not to worry about that runner at first right now. Pete Smith has a tendency, and we saw this when he was in Atlanta, to just kind of get into a habit of throwing over to first, even when that runner's not getting a very big lead. Almost like he's trying to buy a little time to decide what pitch he wants to throw next to the hitter.
He's given up 4 fly ball outs so far. 1 more here would at least get a run home.
Fouled off another breaking ball. Still 2-2.
He has thrown Javier Lopez about 5 breaking balls. He's fouled off a couple, but he keeps going after them. That's why he was able to bust that fastball up and in on his hands, where he was trying to stop his swing and fouled it off too. It's almost like he's just trying to get him to chase one a little bit farther outside each time.
Here's the 2-2. Threw him a fastball there. Fly ball to right. Reggie Sanders toward the line for the catch. Tagging at third is Dwight Smith. Here comes the throw home. Not in time. Smith able to slide under the tag attempt. It's now 2-1 Cincinnati. Give Lopez his 8th RBI of the year.
And boy, Jose Oliva got an earful from Pat Corrales for not tagging and going to second. Excellent slide by Smith. The reason Oliva got an earful was because of this throw right out of his hand. You could tell this ball was going to be airmailed to the plate, way over the head of Brian Hunter. Outstanding slide by Smith to avoid the tag. But Oliva could have been standing on second as soon as the ball left Reggie Sanders' hands.
Instead, he's still at first with 2 down now for Rafael Belliard. He's only been up 3 times this year. He's playing second again tonight in place of Mark Lemke. 0-1 the count on Rafael.
But wasn't that something about that pitch sequence about Smith getting ahead in the count to Lopez with all those breaking balls, and then thinking maybe he could sneak another fastball by him.
2 men gone, a run in, a runner at first. Reds up now 2-1. The 0-1 into center field, another fly ball. Deion Sanders right there, and all 6 outs made by the Braves have been on fly balls to the outfield. Well, the Braves got one of the runs back, thanks in part to a Cincinnati error. It's 2-1 Reds after 2. That's not too bad. You go to your first Braves game and make it all the way to the top of the third. There'll be many more.
That's better than we do sometimes.
Here's Deion Sanders leading off the top of the third, to be followed by Barry Larkin. And then Ron Gant. Reds leading at 2-1. Another beautiful night here. It was kind of overcast today with some rain this morning. But it's partially cleared tonight. A very pleasant evening. Deion a base hit and came around to score on the Larkin home run in the first inning. And he fouls back the first one to count 0-1. One of those days that the Braves made a significant dent in the record books. Back on May 13th of 1942, Jim Tobin, pitching for the Boston Braves, hit 3 home runs in one game against the Cubs in a 6-5 victory. Most homers ever hit by a pitcher in a single game.
Was he in the lineup the next day?
Might have been.
Tried to figure a way to squeeze him in.
The count 0-2 on Deion. One hop to the first baseman, Fred McGriff. So the beat goes on to Tom Glavine after giving up a leadoff single to Sanders, a 2-run homer to Barry Larkin, and a walk to Ron Gant in the first inning. He has settled down and retired 7 straight. And now here is Barry Larkin, who hit that 3rd homer of the season with a man aboard back in the first.
It's almost like a distance runner who's out of sync for the first lap or something. You know, that he can't get in his stride until the 2nd or 3rd lap of a race.
It's like you and I on the golf course. We never can seem to par that first hole.
It's those first 18.
Those first 18 are the toughest. Here's the 1-0. Outside corner, 1-1. Now the 1-1 coming, and there's a foul off into the seats. Boy, 1 ball, 2 strikes to Larkin.
He looks so good up there, Pete. He's right on everything. He's obviously seeing the ball well, taking a real short stride, letting his hands do the work. That's nice. That ball was away from him a little bit and he reached, but he is right on it.
Still 1-2 on Barry Larkin. Maybe this will be the year that Barry Larkin has been hoping to have. He's been plagued by injuries the last couple of years. Had the wrist problems early last year, missed 62 ball games in 1993 due to injuries, but if he stays healthy, a lot of people think he's capable of having just a terrific all-around year. Average, power, RBIs, the whole bit. Drills that one to deep left field. On the run, Chipper Jones can't get to this one off the wall. Larkin heads for second. That ball took a far bounce off the wall. Larkin's going to try for 3. Here's the throw by Jones, and Barry Larkin slides in safely with the triple. Talk about being right on a pitch. That's already his 3rd triple of the year, which puts him atop the National League.
See how he just dropped the head of the bat on that pitch inside? Remember, this came right after he had fouled off a couple of pitches way outside to him just to stay alive. And by the time Chipper recovers after going for the ball, Larkin winds up on 3rd.
Hit number 3 off Tom Glavine, and Larkin has 2 of them, a home run and a triple. Here's Ron Gant, who walked in the first inning.
It says a lot for taking a short stride and seeing the ball out of the pitcher's hand before you react.
Infield in for Atlanta. That is a foul ball. Foul by just inches down the left field line. The count 0-1.
Jim quick to point that out down there.
One man out, Larkin at third. 2 runs, 3 hits for the Reds. 1 run, 1 hit for the Braves. And a count of 0-1 on Ron Gant. Misses outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Two and 1. Couple of afternoon finals in the National League. Montreal beat the New York Mets. Their bullpen collapsed on them again. Montreal 6-1 over New York. And the Cubs shut out San Diego 5-0. 3 balls and a strike now on Gant. Now a 3-1 pitch on the way, and for the second time tonight, Ron Gant draws a walk. Runners first and third.
Pete, I want to show everybody that swing of Larkin's again, and all I want to say about it is that sometimes hitters won't give their hands a chance to work. Look at the target. They moved inside thinking he's hanging out over the plate, but he let his hands do the work. Everything else stayed very calm, very solid. He didn't lunge at the ball. That short stride allowed his hands to work, and sometimes hitters, like guys on the Braves right now who are fighting a little bit, they think their hands are slow, and they think that maybe they've got to speed everything else up in their body to get their hands to work, when the opposite is true. Slow everything else down, and the hands will be quicker.
First and third with 1 down for Brian Hunter, who was called out on strikes his first time and takes the first one, a 5-1. Infield, a double play depth. Hunter doesn't run that well, so a good candidate for a double play if you can get him to hit a ground ball. And he does, right to the shortstop Blauser. To Belliard for 1, on to first for 2, and Glavine's out of the inning. First and third with 1 out, and nobody scores as Glavine gets the Reds in the top of the third. Still 2-1.
Give you a quick update on the Armor All Tire Protectant scoreboard. Chicago over San Diego 5-0. Castillo the winner there. Dunston hit a homer. Lansing homered for Montreal in their win. Pittsburgh and San Francisco going at it out at Candlestick in a close ball game. Florida over Colorado at the end of 3. That's Marvin Freeman on the mound. Holbrook has homered for Florida.
Picked up by Berryhill. High throw. Down the line it goes. Glavine heads for second. Running it down, Brett Boone. Glavine around second, heading for third. Here comes Boone's throw. He is in there safely. Tom Glavine with a bunt. Berryhill got to it all right, and a good throw would have had him at first. And he winds up getting all the way around to third.
They score at a hit and an error. Excellent bunt. Really put some pressure on Damon, who tried to do a 360. That's what got him in trouble. He was turning and throwing all in the same motion. Tommy checked the base coach, Jimmy Williams, as he should, with the ball behind him. And in there.
That's the second Cincinnati error. The runner at third with nobody out now for Marquise Grissom. Greg Mannix, Kent Merker, and John Smoltz had the watch on Tom as he motored around to third, and they'll give him a full report when he gets back in the dugout.
His first hit of the year.
The pitch on the way to Grissom. There's a strike in the inside corner. Marquise fly to center, his first time up.
One thing the Braves have seen from teams they have faced early here, Pete, has been excellent defense. Giants, the best defensive team in the National League the last 2 years to open the season. The Dodgers have improved drastically, and the Phillies have been playing excellent defense also.
In the air to deep right field toward the corner goes Reggie Sanders. He'll make the catch in the corner, tagging at third Tom Glavine, and he'll trot home with run number 2, and we're all tied up at 2. RBI number 7 for Marquise Grissom.
That's the interesting thing to me about Marquise's numbers, the fact that he's hitting under 180, yet he's got 7 RBIs now. He doesn't often fail when he's got a chance with runners in scoring position to get them home.
Now Jeff Blauser, who flied to left his first time. All the outs in the game remain fly balls. There's been 1 to left, 4 to center, and 2 to right. 0-1 on Blauser, who flied to left his first time. One ball, 1 strike. Good breaking ball, makes it 1-2.
I believe both runs so far have been unearned. Oh, Glavine, or that one, last run's an unearned run for Pete Smith.
On the ground is short. Larkin on to first. And that's out number 2.
Here's some American League scores for you. 6-4 Boston over New York. They got 3 home runs, 1 from Valentin, 1 from Vaughn, 1 from McFarland. Baltimore a winner again. Toronto beat Milwaukee. First complete game shutout for an American League pitcher today by David Cone of the Blue Jays. Everything else in the American League a little bit later on.
Now with 2 outs, here's Chipper Jones, who flied to center his first time and fouls off the first pitch. 0-1. 2 runs, 3 hits, and 2 errors now for the Reds. 2-0 for Atlanta. Chipper with 3 home runs in his last 4 games coming into this one. Count even, 1 ball, 1 strike. Two and 1. High in the air, deep to right center field, back to the wall, Reggie Sanders, that one's gone. Home run number 4 for Chipper Jones, and the Braves jump on top 3-2.
Man, has he got a stroke working.
Four homers in his last 5 games.
Take a look at his swing. Breaking ball that didn't break enough. Right out over the plate. Stayed back nicely on it. Didn't commit the front side.
And now Fred McGriff taking a strike, 0-1. McGriff fly to center his first time. One thing that home run does is make both the runs in this inning earned now off of Pete Smith, since they gave Glavine a base hit. 0-2 the count on McGriff.
Low third angle again. Watch how he keeps his hands back after the foot goes forward. Still generated enough bat speed with the hands to golf it out of here.
Here's the 0-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Fourth home run in his last 15 at bats, Pete.
That's all for McGriff. as Pete Smith records his first strikeout. But the Braves turn this one around on a Chipper Jones home run. We go to the fourth inning. 3-2 Atlanta. This telecast authorized under broadcasting rights granted by the Atlanta National League Baseball Club, intended solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, retransmission, or pictures or descriptions of this game without the express written consent of the Atlanta National League Baseball Club is prohibited. Fourth inning, here's Joe.
Thanks, Pete. Brett Boone takes the strike to get things started. Tommy Glavine enjoying a one-run lead now. Boone lined to center field his first time up. Now hitting .328. Glavine steps off. Had a 1-2-3 inning in the second. Pitched out of some trouble in the third. Got a double play with runners at first and third. Strike two. Good pitch. Glavine came into tonight's start with 10 walks overall and 9 strikeouts. He's walked a couple tonight. He has struck out 3. That's playable. Who wants it? It's like Oliva. 1 out. That'll bring up Reggie Sanders, who popped out to McGriff in the first inning. His defensive play last night, Pete, I thought saved Cincinnati on a couple of occasions, especially in the 9th inning, making a nice play on a ball hit by Javi Lopez that may have driven in the winning run.
Made a couple of nice catches.
That's down the line and fair. Sanders heads to second. He'll have a double easy. Jones gets the ball into third base. A 1-out double for Reggie Sanders.
Jumping on the first pitch, breaking ball. It was started out away, but it came right over the heart of the plate.
His 4th double of the season. So the Reds with 4 hits. A single by Sanders, Deion Sanders, a double by Reggie Sanders, and a triple and a home run by Barry Larkin. Mark Lewis struck out his first time up. And that's going to get out for a base hit. Let's see if Sanders can score. Dwight Smith up with it. Here comes the throw to the plate. It's off the mark. And just like that, the Reds come right back to tie it. Mark Lewis with his 3rd RBI of the year. And he took him the other way.
He too jumping on the first pitch. Lopez wanted it outside. That's where Tom Glavine put it. And Mark Lewis just went with the pitch. Smith's throw up the line at third.
Looked like he went up there.
Easy run for Reggie Sanders.
It looked like he went up there looking for the changeup, didn't it? And got it. And just deposited it in right field. Berryhill goes after the first pitch as well, but he comes up empty.
Well, all these hitters ought to have pretty good scouting reports on Tom Glavine. All they had to do is ask the hitter that's in there right now, Damon Berryhill, who caught Tom for a couple of years here in Atlanta. He can tell them all about his stuff and the patterns he likes to use.
It's a very good point. Now he likes to set up power hitters, singles hitters. Mark Lewis, one of the few Reds without a stolen base at this point of the season. We're tied up again, 3-3. Chased another pitch down and away, 0-2. Damon spent last season in Boston with his former teammate Otis Nixon, who's now in Texas. 0-2 pitch. Back to Glavine. They might get 2 with Berryhill running out there. Double play. 1-6-3 gets him out of the inning. But the Reds come up with a tying run. They do it on 2 hits. They do not strand a runner. And we head to the bottom of the 4th, a 3-3 tie.
Yeah, I'm an MVP.
I'm an MVP.
Well, I'm an all-star.
I'm an all-star too.
I wear Franklin batting gloves.
I wear Franklin batting gloves.
Yeah, but I wear an earring.
What do you think my dad would say?
3 runs, 5 hits for the Reds. 3 runs, 3 hits for the Braves. Pete Smith will face Dwight Smith, Jose Oliva, and Javi Lopez in the Brave half of the 4th inning. Pretty good turnout tonight, Pete. Probably.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have about
35,000
or so after a crowd of 33,000 last night. Final game in this series tomorrow afternoon
on Mother's Day, a Mother's Day special,
with Steve Avery going against John Smiley.
We'll have it for you at 1:05 right here on TBS. Dwight Smith ripped a double his first time up, scored on a sacrifice fly by Javi Lopez after moving over to third on an error by Larkin. Takes a strike. Dwight now hitting .360, 9 for 25. 0-2. Pete Smith's best year for the Braves was '92. He went 7-0, had a 2.05 ERA as a spot starter. Ripped again on an 0-2 pitch down into the right field corner. Sanders has a good arm. Smith going to try to make it to second. He has his second double of the night on an 0-2 pitch.
That's a pitch that Pete Smith would like back. Ahead in the count, 0-2. He just grooved one to Dwight Smith.
Dwight Smith making some good marks for himself here, Pete, about getting more than just some pinch hitting time.
Isn't it funny, too, because in spring training, he didn't hit a lick.
Yeah, he had to hit his first at-bat in spring training and his last at-bat. And nothing in between. Now, let's see if Oliva can get him to third. Tries, but fouls it off. 0-1. Jose bounced one to Larkin his first time up. Larkin threw it in the dirt at first. Braves had runners at first and third with Smith at third base, and Javi Lopez hit a fly ball to right to get the first run home. Oliva now hitting .216, 8 for 37. He tries to go to right again and does, and drops in a base hit in front of Deion Sanders. They're going to wave Smith home. Deion, with not a strong arm, is off the mark and late. And this time Oliva takes advantage of the bad throw and moves into scoring position and picks up an RBI in the process. Number 6 on the year, and the Braves are back on top, 4-3.
And this is good coaching at third by Jimmy Williams. A lot of times you won't see a runner wave with nobody out, but he knows that Deion Sanders doesn't throw that well, so he never hesitated to give Dwight Smith the green light.
I'm not sure that Dwight knew he was going to be waved home, but as soon as he got to the bag, he had to turn it up a notch. Second straight time he's had to go in head first at home plate. Again, a runner at second, nobody out. And Lopez up there. Delivered a sacrifice fly his first time up. He'll try to get Oliva to third. 0-1 the count. Javi didn't like the call. The 0-1 pitch. 0-2. Lopez takes a little walk. He must not have liked that call either. Bob Davidson calling the balls and strikes tonight. Oh, and 2. He's got to guard the plate now, and gets a piece of that one.
You know, you're talking about Pete Smith being a member of the Atlanta Braves, and for the last 4 or 5 years we keep hearing this pitching staff referred to as the Young Guns, but the original Young Guns, Tom Glavine, John Smoltz, Pete Smith, Tommy Green, and Derek Lilliquist. A lot of people forget that those were the original 5 that initially had that nickname. Steve Avery came along later, as of course did Greg Maddux. Kent Merker also came later.
Still 0-2 to Lopez. That moves him back 1-2. And the Braves had a deal with Lilliquist. He was going to come back during the strike, I believe, he was going to sign as a non-roster player, and then when the rules went back to the '94 season, he signed, I believe, again with Cleveland, didn't he?
As a free agent.
Yes. 1-2 the count. 2-2. The breaking ball misses outside.
I believe he signed with Boston, the Red Sox.
The Red Sox?
Yeah.
He had been with Cleveland before. Four to 3 Braves. We're in the fourth in a seesaw affair. Saw Oliva at second. Scoreboard in the background shows you nobody out. And Berryhill out to talk to Smith. Now remember, the last time Hobby was up there, they were getting him to chase some bad breaking balls, and then they wanted the fastball away, got too much of the plate, and he hit the fly ball to right to get a run home. Pretty fair left-handed pitcher there next to Davey Johnson.
Don Gullett.
Was he 19 years old when he pitched in the World Series? Air it out. 2-2 pitch. Curve inside this time and hit foul past Jimmy Williams. That's not where Berryhill wanted it. A good turnout on a night that had some threatening skies earlier, and it's still a little overcast here in Atlanta. Good ball game going on too. Got him with a high fastball. Lopez down on strikes. That's the second strikeout of the ball game for Pete Smith.
And that's closer to the pitch that Pete Smith wanted to make in that situation back in the second inning when he had a 2-2 count on Lopez. He was going to throw him a fastball. He wanted it up and away.
And now Rafael Belliard, still looking for that next homer. 8 years ago was his last one. This might be the at bat right here. Watch out for the first pitch. Almost. He's going to kind of work into it here.
I think Rafi right now would just settle for that first hit of 1995. He's 0 for 4 now in the year.
But it's kind of like a no-hitter and a shutout all going away at the same time. He could just get it all out of the way with one swing. I think that tape on his bat's a new addition too. He always chokes up, but maybe he's thinking that grip will help too with the long ball. The 0-1 pitch. Lined in left field. Pete, you called it. That'll get Oliva home. Gann over to cut it off. Belliard with a big turn, but he'll hold it first. 5-3 Braves on some clutch hitting by Rafi.
Braves getting some good production from the lower part of the batting order. Oliva, Lopez, and Belliard each with an RBI. Now that ball right over the heart of the plate. And it's Belliard's first hit and first RBI of the year.
First hit, first ribby. And first time tonight the Braves have had a 2-run lead. Tom Glavine dropped down a bunt base hit in the third inning. Went all the way around to third when Berryhill threw it into the right field corner. There goes Belliard. Pitch swung on. Bounce past Hunter into right field. A little hit and run. Belliard heads around to third. He'll make it easily. Tommy Glavine 2 for 2. And a little more movement to the offense tonight.
And some action now in the Reds bullpen. Mike Remlinger will begin to throw. They just got him from the New York Mets a couple of days ago. Tom Glavine now 2 for 2 against his old buddy.
It's a pretty good example on a hit and run play. You don't have to hit a line drive with that big hole on the right side. Just hit it on the ground and try to pull it. So runners at the corners for Marquise Grissom. 0 for 1 with a sacrifice fly. His 7th RBI of the year. It came in the third inning. Pete Smith in some trouble. Good fastball, 0-1. 4 hits in the inning, 2 runs across, and the Braves have reclaimed the lead. Another good pitch on the outside corner. 0-2. The Reds would like a double play here to get out of the inning, but a tough guy to double up. Marquis flied to center his first time up. That one a little high and outside. Grissom with 12 hits and 68 at-bats. Not the kind of start he wanted. There's a drive into deep left center field. Dion going back on the track. At the wall, it's gone! A 3-run homer for Marquis Grissom. 8-3 Braves. Marquis with his 4th RBI of the night. And it was a 1-2 pitch on that count, Pete.
And it is unraveled in a hurry tonight on Pete Smith here in this 4th inning. That's the 5th hit in the inning. Almost got the pitch exactly where Barry Hill wanted it, but Marquis Grissom went out and got it. And that's his first Atlanta home run. He now has 10 RBIs this year. Davey Johnson has really not had enough time to get his bullpen ready. But now he's on his way to the mound. Remlinger has not thrown many warm-up tosses.
No, he hasn't. Marquis jumped all over a hanger, too. Stayed up and right out over the zone. So Pete Smith exits. The Braves have jumped out to a 5-run lead, and we'll be right back. Pete Smith back in the dugout after a tough 4th inning in which the Braves have scored 5 times. 3 on this home run by Grissom.
Yeah, this is the one that undid him. Marquis' first Atlanta home run, a 3-run shot. Opens up a 5-run lead. Smith winds up working 3 1/3, giving up 8 hits, 8 runs, 7 earned. No walks, 2 strikeouts. Mike Remlinger takes the mound for the first time in a Reds uniform. He was acquired just a couple of days ago from the Mets, where he made 5 appearances. You see his numbers while with New York. 7 hits allowed in 5 2/3 innings, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. The league was hitting .292 against him. And he'll try to stop the bleeding. The Braves needed something to break out of their offensive woes. And it's a shame it came at the expense at this point of their old friend Pete Smith, but the way things were going, Pete, didn't matter who it was, somebody was going to have to take one. Yeah, this team had been quiet offensively for way too long, and they were due for this kind of an eruption. Blauser 0 for 2 tonight. He's got a 6-game hitting streak riding. 1-0 the count. It's 5-run outburst here in the 4th inning, the biggest inning of the year for the Braves. 2-0. Still only 1 out in the inning. It started with a Dwight Smith double on an 0-2 pitch. Oliva singled him home. Lopez struck out. Belliard singled in a run. Glavine on a hit-and-run single put Belliard at 3rd, and then Marquis Grissom with a 3-run shot to center. It's the most runs the Braves have scored since opening day, when they beat the Giants 12-5. And lead at 8-3. 3-0 to Blauser. He's taking all the way, and there's a strike. Show you how deep the Braves batting slump had gotten in the last 8 games before tonight. The most runs they had scored in a game was 4. It was getting ugly. Full count. Payoff pitch to Blauser. He walked him. First walk issued by
Remlinger, and he'll face Chipper Jones, who homered his last time up. His 4th home run in 5 days. He switches around to bat right-handed. He's 1 out of 2. It seems that way lately. His last 6 games plus 2 at-bats, Chipper has a double, 4 homers, 5 RBIs. Left-hander comes set. Breaking ball a little outside for ball 1.
Reds been looking for one more left-handed reliever. They've got Chuck McElroy out there for late in the game, but they had a couple of youngsters, John Courtwright and Matt Grott, who they took a look at. They sent both of them back to the minor leagues and then acquired Remlinger. So they're looking for one more southpaw in the bullpen. It's a great opportunity for a guy like Remlinger, but he's got to throw strikes.
And that's 2-0, and he gets a visit from Barry Hill and Brett Boone. Chipper Jones came into the ball game 2 for 11 right-handed, which is his natural side, hitting .255 left-handed. All of his homers have come from the left side. These fans able to have some fun tonight at the ballpark here in Atlanta, but it's only the bottom of the 4th. Good fastball for a strike, 2-1. Pete Smith recorded only 1 ground ball out. Everything else was a fly ball or a strikeout. Blauser dives back. He's 1 out of 2 in stolen bases. I don't think you'll see him running until there's a full count, if there's one. That foul ball makes it 2-2. It's got to make Chipper feel good to get off to a pretty good start, Pete, after a year
layoff. He was concerned about it this spring. He knows that it's not that easy when you haven't swung a bat in a real game for over a year. And it's going to be taking a little more time to get your swing down, so I think this start even surprises him a little bit.
Some more activity in the Reds bullpen. That's Tim Pugh, the right-hander, loosening up. As Blauser leads from first. The 2-2 pitch to Jones. 3-2.
There's 2 ways to look at the way the strike affected Chipper Jones. Number 1, it did give him all the time he absolutely needed to get over that serious knee injury he had. But number 2, he was almost to the point last year where he might have been activated in September when the rosters expanded. Now, what would have happened if they had played last year and he had been activated and he went 1 for 15 or 1 for 17? What would that have done to his confidence? You never know.
That's true. Blauser was running on the 3-2 pitch, but it's fouled down the line. Yeah, he might have stewed about that all off season, worried about it.
I think it would have been tougher for him last year coming into September when everybody else has gone through a full season and they're still sharp.
I agree.
Than it was going into spring training where everybody hasn't played in a long time.
I don't know that he was going to be able to win that argument, though. He said he was ready and wanted to play. I just don't know that the Braves were going to take that chance with him. Again, Blauser's running. The pitch is down in the dirt. He walks Jones, and that'll bring up McGriff. So Remlinger walks the first 2 batters he faces as a Cincinnati Red. And again, after 5 2/3 innings with the Mets, he had walked 2. Here comes Don Gullett out to talk to his pitcher. Now the Reds have a situation I've never heard of with their coaching staff. Ray Knight is the assistant manager, is that right?
He's the assistant manager and also the third base coach.
Right. I don't know that in my baseball experience I ever was around a team or played for one that had an assistant manager.
Well, according to every report that we hear, Davey Johnson will be moving up into the front office after this year. And Ray Knight is expected to become the manager of the Cincinnati Reds in 1996.
86 MVP of the World Series for the Mets. Here's Fred McGriff. He's the 9th batter to come to the plate. First and second, 1 out. Gets a curve strike. And Fred says to himself, that figures. The guy can't throw a strike to anybody, but he hooks me and I'm in the hole already. Fred won for his last 22. That's roped, though, down into the corner. If it's fair, it's trouble. Fair ball. Blauser scores. Jones on his way to third. Fred hustles to second. The throw there in time. They got him. Good relay by the Reds. I believe it was Brett Boone who alertly fired to second to cut down Fred McGriff, but nonetheless, he hit the ball hard, drove in a run. It's 9-3.
Got a fastball inside part of the plate from Remlinger. This ball one-hops the wall out there and was quickly played. A good play by Reggie Sanders. That ball took an awkward carom. He quickly gets it back to Brett Boone, who fires a strike to Barry Larkin. But a run is in. McGriff's 13th RBI of the year.
That gets a smile on his face. Dwight Smith started the inning with a double. He has 2 tonight. Sends this one to Boone, who makes a nice scoop. Throws him out, and that'll do it for the Braves. But what an inning. 6 runs. 6 hits. No errors. 1 man left. A 3-run shot by Grissom, the big part of the inning. And we head to the 5th with Atlanta leading it 9-3. Well, Tommy Glavine gave up his usual 2 runs in the first inning of tonight's ball game, but his teammates have battled back to make it a 9-3 contest as we go to the 5th. And a pinch hitter for the Reds, Jerome Walton, will hit for Remlinger. Walton played defensively in the 11th last night, hauled in the last out of the ball game on a drive by Mike Kelly. And you think about it, Pete, Ron Gantz out there, he may not make that play.
Yeah, that was a big play. The ball was well hit by Kelly.
Jerome Walton having a good start, hitting .364. He's 4 for 11, 2 homers, 4 RBIs. He hit the game winner in that game Pete Smith started against the Mets back on May 6th when they overcame an 11-4 deficit. 2-1. They scored 9 runs in the last 2 innings to beat the Mets that day, 13-11. So got to be a little cautious about this 9-3 lead. They're capable of coming back. 2-2. Walton didn't like that one. Walton and Dwight Smith of the Braves, former teammates with the Cubs. That's out of play.
A lot of people forget because Walton has bounced around a little bit since then, but he was the Rookie of the Year in the National League in 1989.
He and Smith were kind of competing with each other that year. Both had excellent rookie years. Wide stance, deep in the box, right on the plate. And a loop into center field. That'll drop for a Texas League base hit. Hit it right off the end of the bat. But a pinch hit single gets the Reds going here in the 5th inning. And Deion Sanders draws a mixed reaction as he gets in the box. He's 1 for 2 tonight. He singled in the first inning, scored on a home run by Barry Larkin. Grounded out to McGriff his other time up. He's bunting, but bunts through it. 0-1. I hope it doesn't take a full moon every night for the Braves to score a lot of runs.
No, we don't want that.
Tries to bunt his way aboard again, but pulls the bat back this time. It's 1-1. He's obviously not looking for a sacrifice here. He's just trying to get on base. ahead of Larkin and Gant and Hunter. But the thing about this play is that it's not just Sanders that's running. They may have a chance to get Walton at second if it's not a good bunt. Swinging this time, it's 2-1. Montreal beat New York 6-1. Dion tries his bunt attempt again, but this time fouls it off. And it's 2-2. Montreal rallied in their ball game with the Mets. Scored all 6 of their runs over the last 3 innings. 2-2 pitch. Hit off the fist to second. Belliard to Blauser for 1. They got to hurry. Not in time at first. Sanders with his good speed able to beat the relay. But they cut down the lead runner, 1 out.
Very, very difficult to turn a double play with Deion Sanders running unless it's a very hard hit ball on one hop right at somebody. He's got that good speed getting down the first base line.
He's at first with 1 out for Barry Larkin, who hit a 2-run homer in the first, tripled, and was left stranded in the third. His 3rd homer, his 3rd triple of the season. Glavine starts him with a changeup outside. Glavine has had 2 double plays turned for him tonight. He'd like to get another. There goes Sanders. Pitches outside. Throw down to second. Got him. Right on the money by Lopez. Terrific throw, and he put it right on the bag.
A good throw, and see the little slide step there by Tom Glavine too. Which cut down some of the lead that Deion Sanders had, but that throw still had to be perfect by Javi Lopez, and it was. So you only got a 1-step jump on Glavine there with that glide step toward home, and the throw by Lopez perfect to nail Deion Sanders.
First time he's been caught this year. 2 down. 3-0 to Larkin.
That's only the 3rd base runner the Atlanta Braves have thrown out of 21 rather.
There's a strike, 3-1, but that's a good point, Pete, about the slide step. If you can use it and not have it affect your control, it's a good weapon. Three-1 pitch. He walked him. Glavine thought he had a strike, but just missed. That's the 3rd walk given up by Glavine tonight. Comes with 2 outs and brings up Ron Gant, who has walked twice. A little outside for ball 1 to Gant. Division leader in the East, Philadelphia, has taken a 2-0 lead over Houston at the Astrodome after an inning and a half. Keep an eye on Larkin. He might run too. 2-0. As they did with Brian Hunter, Braves have Chipper Jones playing Gant as a dead pull hitter and deep. A lot of room in left center. Off-speed pitch and a beauty. Makes it 2-1. There's the gap between Grissom and Jones, and Gant's home run last night was hit to left center field. A low line drive that won the ball game in the 11th. 2-1 pitch. Popped up. McGriff calling for it. And has it for the 3rd out of the 5th inning. The Reds threaten. No runs, a hit. They strand a runner, and we head to the bottom of the 5th inning as Skip and Don come your way, and the Braves are on top 9-3.
Your eyes are not deceiving you. It's a 9-3 ball game. 9 runs, 9 hits for the Braves. This may be one of the nights, Skip, that the Braves need to kind of get on track because they've had a good inning or two, but this is the first time they've had 4 or 5 good innings in a ball game.
Yeah, and they're putting some numbers on the board for a change, so hopefully this is the end of the bad times for a while.
Tim Pugh is the new pitcher for the Reds, 3rd pitcher of the night. Oliva will greet him. First pitch swinging, that's going to get back our way.
Jerome Walton stays in the game to play left field, and Pugh hits in Ron Gant's spot in the order.
All right, make those changes in your scorebook. Bottom of the 5th inning. Didn't mean to. That's going to get out of play. No balls, 2 strikes.
I don't think Ron Gant is hurt, except he plays in a little pain until that leg is 100% ready, and down 6. They're in a day game tomorrow. They probably letting him get some ice on it, so he'll be ready to go tomorrow. He didn't limp. It's not like he got hurt here tonight.
Another pop-up that's going to get out of play, and it's still 0-2. There's a look at Ron. Chances are, like most veteran players, he will watch part of this before he meanders into the training room, get the treatment. Timothy Dean Pugh out of Florence, Kentucky, or that's where he lives now. He's a big guy. Call strike 3. A lot of movement on his fastball. And he catches Oliva looking with that one.
I don't know about that. Looked a little outside, but Oliva didn't like it, but bit his lip this time.
Pugh is a product of one of the really good college programs in the country, Oklahoma State University. He was 33-6 in his 4 years there. Here's Lopez. Sac fly and a strikeout. Grissom has a homer. Blauser has walked and scored. Jones has a homer. McGriff a single and an RBI. Smith a couple of doubles. He scored 2. Oliva has singled and scored. Lopez a sac fly. Belliard has single, driven 1 in, and Glavine has 2 hits. So top to bottom, the offense has been clicking. Outside, and the count 2-1. Chases a bad one. That'll leave it at 2-2. Pugh split the year last year between Indianapolis and Cincinnati. He was 3-3 at his time on the big league roster in 10 ball games. 9 of them as a starter. He gave up a ton of runs, a 6 earned run average. Off speed pitch misses. It's a full count to Javi Lopez. Not much of a strikeout pitcher. He'll give up some base hits. Tries to get you to hit it on the ground. Misses down low. Another gift for the Braves, and that'll bring up Rafael Belliard. Belliard 1 out of 2. Flied to center his first time up. That 1 hit is first of the year. 1 out of 5 for the year. Made it count. He picked up an RBI. Slow roll at third. Tough play. Good play. So Lewis throws out Belliard. 2 gone, and Lopez moves it up 90 feet. Should be a nice round of applause for Glavine this time. He has a couple of base hits, and he's pitched well since the first inning.
And his bunt sort of got things going here tonight.
A bunt single leading off the third inning. Damon Berryhill threw it down the right field line. Glavine was able to make it all the way around the third, and Grissom drove him home with a sacrifice fly. Braves picked up another run in the third inning. Upstairs, and it's 1-0. That'll get out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. Glavine 2 out of 7. Greg Maddux now 3 out of 7. It's a little bit of a heated battle for honors on the pitching staff. But I'm sure John Smoltz will tell you he just hasn't gotten untracked yet. On the ground, Boone is there to one knee. And he'll throw out Glavine. Tom doing a good job of pacing himself on that one. Braves come up empty in the 5th inning. No runs or hits, no errors, 1 left. We have played 5. 9-3 your score.
Here's the Budweiser game summary. Marquise Grissom having his first big night for the Braves, and that's good news. Barry Larkin has done well for the bad guys.
Top of the 6th inning. Brian Hunter due to lead it off. Boone and Sanders to follow. Braves needed a blowout like this. Well, he's still got to get 12 more outs, but it's nice to see top to bottom in the batting order getting untracked. 9 runs, 9 hits for the Braves. 3 runs, 6 hits, and a couple of errors for the Reds. Hunter 0 for 2. Glavine's curveball stays upstairs, and it's 1-0. He hasn't thrown but 2 or 3 curveballs tonight. It's been almost all fastball changeup for Tom. There's the change, and it's a beauty. 1-1.
Speaking of that combination, makes you think of a pretty good pitcher the Reds had for many years, Mario Soto.
Well, he influenced a lot of pitchers coming out of the Dominican Republic. I know Ramon Martinez was one. And when you first saw Martinez when he joined the Dodgers, Skip, same style of pitching. Down low, it's 2-1. I think somebody, and I don't know who, tried to make him into an over-the-top curveball pitcher, and it may have stunted his growth for a while. But look at his brother who pitches in Montreal. He's fastball changeup.
Yeah.
Good pitch right there. 2-2. Soto proved you can pitch with those 2 pitches and just use the breaking ball occasionally if you have good arm speed and good motion. In the air, center field. Should be an easy one for Grissom. It is. 1 gone. It's been a cloudy off and on day, but as you can see, popping clear here at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. As Brett Boone stands in, fly to center, pop to third. Don't look for him to take too many pitches. Maybe down 9-3, but he is an aggressive hitter. Line to left, Chipper Jones got it. And Glavine doing what you like to see with a big lead. He's coming out, taking the inner half of the plate out of play and throwing strikes on the outside. He gets 2 quick outs here in the 6th inning. They'll bring up Reggie Sanders. Popped to first, double and scored. 1 out of 2. First pitch misses low. 1-0. That may have taken a healthy bite out of Javi Lopez. Trying to walk it off. 1-1. To center field, got the changeup up.
7 hits for the Reds, 2 for Sanders. He'll stand at first with 2 outs.
There it is, up in the strike zone, as Don said. Hey, congratulations to our statistician, Hal Galima. He's learned to count all the way to 10 today.
Took it on Hal. He had a tough day yesterday coaching, didn't you, Hal? Did you get shut out yesterday, Hal? Pitch to Lewis is a strike, and it's 0-1. Where do you coach? No balls and 1 strike. High in the air, right side, foul territory near the dugout. Does McGriff have room? No, he doesn't. And that'll make it 0-2. So Glavine ahead of Lewis. 0-2 the count. There goes the runner. Slow roller to second. Belliard will make the play. Glavine may have touched that, so if you're keeping score, make it 1-4-3 on the putout. That'll take care of the Reds' half of the 6th inning. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 left. We move to the bottom of the 6th. Braves up by 6.
NBA playoff action continues Tuesday night on both TNT and TBS. 7 o'clock on TNT. Game 5, Chicago-Orlando series. I don't care what number Michael wears. Following that, the Lakers take on the Spurs. Also Game 5 on TBS. Following the Rockies-Braves game, it's Game 5 in the Western Conference between Houston and Phoenix.
Grissom leads it off. First pitch swinging. Long run for Reggie Sanders, and he makes the catch. 1 pitch, 1 out for Tim Pugh here in the 6th inning. Braves with 1 in the 2nd, 2 in the 3rd, 6 in the 4th inning. In the 4th inning, they sent 10 men to bat. Here's Blauser. Hitless, but he has drawn a walk and scored. Jeff now 9 out of his last 24. Chases a bad one there, and it's 0-1. Pugh blows a fastball by him. Blauser looks much more comfortable now than he did a week ago. Chuck McElroy, that's one way pitchers use of loosening up. Just take a weight, stretch the muscles out. You can bet that's not very heavy. I'd guess 3 pounds. 1-2 to Blauser. A lot of different ways of doing it. Good guy right there on his right, on your left, Grant Jackson. Oh, is he a good pitcher for the Phillies? Blauser lays off the breaking ball. It's 2-2. That was not just a killing time way, but bullpen guys who come up with some very funny ways to kill time. High in the air to left field. Walton at the warning track. It's going to stay in for him. 2 outs here in the 6th inning. Remember Alejandro Pena, as Chipper Jones comes to bat, used to amuse himself in the bullpen. He would take his gum and put it on the end of a little stick and catch ants with it. A little stretching right there.
Well, that would certainly amuse me.
Another way of stretching. A strike to Jones, and it's 0-1.
Another way is to sneak through the gate and go somewhere and get a hot dog. That's been known to happen out there, too.
Who was it in Chicago went across the street and climbed up on the roof and watched the game?
Tom Browning.
0-2 to count to Chipper Jones.
I think it was Mo Drabowski one time. They got the lines crossed on the phones, and he knew it. And he was calling the other bullpen and getting guys up. You know, the manager's going nuts. What's he doing throwing?
Outside with a fastball, 1-2. There used to be a couple of bullpens where you could dial out. So a lot of guys used to spend their time calling long distance. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Jones. Stays alive with the foul tip. Other stories too about where you get some of the bullpens that are kind of hidden, calling and ordering pizzas.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And there have been even more interesting things than that, but
which we will leave on.
Time will not permit.
That and the fact we like our jobs. The 1-2 pitch to Chipper Jones. Outside, 2-2.
And there have been starting pitchers who have not fared well in games, have wound up in stadium clubs around the country drinking a glass of bubbly while the game is in progress.
In uniform?
I believe so.
2-2 to Jones, got him. Good inning for Pugh. The Braves go 1-2-3. Grissom, Blauser, and Jones set down. We have completed 6. We move to the 7th inning in Atlanta. It's 9-3. Top of the 7th, a quick look at our Aflac trivia question. How many 200-hit seasons did Pete Rose have? We'll give you the answer in a little while. In the meantime, we give the mic over to Skip.
Okay, Don, thanks. Damon Barry Hill leads off the 7th inning. He's 0 for 2, and he takes a pitch up and away. 1 ball, no strikes. The answer to that question is a bunch. Right through there, 1-1.
I can remember, too, when he would tell you every one of them and what the pitch was and what the count was and where it went. Amazing memory for how pitchers pitched him and what he was going to do and what he had done at the plate.
2 balls, 1 strike. Let up, hit up the middle, but they haven't played perfectly. Belliard throws out Barry Hill, 1 away. And Jerome Walton will be the batter, hitting for the 2nd time in the game. He came into the game as pinch hitter in the 5th and singled.
A lot of times if you're a starting pitcher, Skip, you get a night like this where you get 9-3 lead, and you throw the ball down the middle, and they hit it nice and soft to second base, a one-hopper. You wonder why, when they make those pitches in a 2-1 ball game, they wear out the bullpen fence and they wear out the walls with it. But invariably, when you get a 9-3 lead, hitters take different swings.
Walton really spreads out in that batter's box and doesn't catch up with that one. 0-1. He's from Noonan and now makes his home in Fairburn, Georgia, both suburbs of Atlanta. Scott Sullivan is the right-hander in their pen. Tommy cuts it loose, and Walton takes another strike, and he's in the hole 1-2.
You know, you mentioned something on radio, and it might, Greg McMichael's starting to warm up. You might be something to consider after the pitch.
Which is forthcoming. He just stayed alive.
Remember, we were noticing over on radio how early in the ballgame Tom seemed to have slowed down everything. He was taking time between pitches, more than we remember. Now all of a sudden, is it because he's in a groove that he's working quicker, or is he in a groove because he's working quicker? He just seems to work more effectively when he works more quickly.
And I think the 6-run lead helps a little too. Just missed downstairs. 1 out, nobody aboard. McMichael throwing as if this will be Glavine's last inning. He has thrown quite a few pitches tonight. He got him up and in. Walton out on strikes. Pretty good job of pitching. Glavine went all over the place in that pitching sequence and got his man, and that is his 4th strikeout of the night.
This is a good barometer for his endurance and how well conditioned he is. Is he ready to go longer? Yes, he is, because here we are in the 7th inning, and as you pointed out, a lot of pitches, and he threw one of his best fastballs of the night.
Dion, 1 out of 3, singled and scored in the 1st, thrown out stealing in this game for the first time this year. Popped him up on the infield, or is it? Belliard going out, calling for it. Blauser calls him off, makes the catch, and the inning is over. A very quick 7th inning worked by Tom Glavine. He gets him 1-2-3. We go to the bottom half, and the Braves enjoy a 9-3 lead. We'll be back. McGriff tonight is 1 for 3, a run-producing single. Tim Pugh deals one all the way to the backstop, and McGriff runs it down. 1 ball, no strikes. (9-3) Atlanta. Big Tim Pugh kicks and fires upstairs. 2-0. Nobody on, nobody out, bottom of the 7th. McMichael now has taken a seat in the Atlanta bullpen. See if he gets up again as this inning progresses. Line drive right center, base hit. Reggie Sanders over fast to cut it off. And he holds McGriff to a single with a perfect throw to second base. Boy, he is a good-looking right fielder.
Another reminder about our Aflac trivia question, and it was, how many 200-hit seasons did Pete Rose have? What did you say? If it was 10, you were 100% correct.
Is that the record, Hal? Is that the most 200-hit seasons? I would think so. Yes, it is.
I would like to say that I contributed mightily to those.
Dwight Smith is the batter, and that's upstairs. 1 ball, no strikes. So McGriff has 2 hits tonight. Grissom has a 3-run homer. A couple of doubles for Smith. An RBI single for Oliva. Sacrifice fly for Lopez. RBI single for Belliard. Glavine a couple hits, 2 runs scored. Smith pops one on the infield. Mark Lewis puts it away, 1 down. And Oliva is the batter. It looks like Glavine's night's work is over. I'll be glad when our guys start going 9. I guess we're getting close.
Well, it is starting to happen around the league other places, but I still maintain it's the philosophy of the managers and the coaches more than it is whether or not a player is capable of doing it. They're working within a framework that is designed for them, not by them.
The pitch to Oliva. On the corner, 0-1. 9-3 Atlanta. The 0-1 pitch. Curve swung, popped into right field. Sanders is there. McGriff goes halfway, and 2 are out. And Javi Lopez, the batter.
I'll tell you when you'll start seeing more innings out of the starters, Skip. Tuesday. Because Monday the rosters have to be cut to 25, and the managers are not going to have the luxury of having 13, 14, 15 pitchers. Most of them will have a 10-man pitching staff, so it will require more effort out of your starters, and I think you'll see them going longer.
Cincinnati's almost done it already. They're down to 26 men already, so they have only 1 cut to make. The Braves are carrying 14 pitchers, and they always, in the Bobby Cox regime, carry 11, so 3 pitchers will be cut. High pop, short center field. Dion coming on. Boone going out. Sanders there. Has it. Inning over. 1 hit, no runs, no errors. 1 left at the end of 7. Atlanta 9, Cincinnati 3.
Let's take a look at our Delta scoreboard. Sean Dunston, a homer for Chicago. Montreal, Pedro Martinez is 3-0. The Giants got a homer out of Todd Benzinger. Florida with home runs from Colburn and Pendleton in that one. The rest of the activity, Houston got 3 in the second to take the lead there. St. Louis and L.A. a little bit later on. 3 home runs for Boston, the difference in that ball game. Baltimore, Anderson a homer. Mike Messina is now 2-1. Toronto's David Cone went the route in that shutout victory. A home run for Fielder for Detroit, a home run for Clark, all the scoring there. Kansas City waited till the 4th inning. Good pitching matchup. Bosky against Apier. You see the Oakland score. Chicago at Seattle a little bit later on. That's our Delta scoreboard.
And Barry Larkin leads off here in the 8th inning. Mike Kelly's in right field. Greg McMichael on to pitch, and here we go. Low and away, 1 ball, no strikes. McMichael 2-0, 3.86 makes his 8th appearance. He has no saves. I don't believe he's had a save opportunity. The 1-0. Right in there, a ball and a strike. Larkin has had a good night. A 2-run homer, a triple, and he's walked.
Remember, Larkin was having trouble pulling the ball last year because of a wrist bothering him. It looks like he's more confident now because as Michael comes on, he's wrapping the bat more.
A little high, 2-1. Steve Avery against John Smiley tomorrow. 1:10 game time, 1:05 here on TBS.
Against Glavine, it looked like he had a little more respect for the fastball. He wasn't wrapping this much.
There's the change. He doesn't get it. The count goes to 2-2.
Could be one of the mechanisms he tries to use to make himself wait longer, figuring if I wrap it like that, I can't get started quickly, and it'll cause me to stay back on a guy like McMichael, which you have to go up there thinking I've got to look for a changeup.
Missed outside, and a full count is the result. Thomas Howard is on deck. He will hit for the pitcher, it would appear. Throw him a strike, Mac. He did. Maybe should have thrown him ball 4. Larkin has a 2-homer game, and it's 9-4. Pretty good night. 2 homers and a triple. Thomas Howard, the hitter.
He waited well on this one. Watch the ball come back. He wants it outside, but it's back over the plate. That's the pitch prior to it that missed outside that got him to 3-2. Hopefully this is the one that went out. It is. Down and in, changeup.
Howard looks at a strike. It's 0-1. A ball and a strike. Tim Pugh did a good job. 3 shutout innings. 1 hit, a couple of strikeouts, and a walk. McMichael is greeted rudely here. Howard loops one foul right over the Reds' dugout.
He's probably one of those guys, Skip, that 26th man trying to get that 25th spot on the roster, Tim Pugh is. Because he really had a up and down year last year. He had an earned run average of about 6, so tonight may have saved him a spot on the roster.
The 1-2. Fastball misses outside. I'll tell you who's really helped himself on our side lately is Pedro Borbon.
Yes.
It was a cinch to be sent out until his last 3 outings, all of which have been eye-popping. He bounces it up there, and it's 3-2 again.
Talk about Borbon. I'd sure like to see him continue to pitch the way he's pitching. Remember, when he'd come up before, he'd be a breaking ball and try to sink the fastball. He's throwing with good velocity. He's able to throw it by some fastball hitters.
Another 3-2 pitch. He walked him. And trouble brews in the 8th inning. Brian Hunter, the batter.
9-3 should be a comfortable lead. What you don't want to do is to get a good ball club down. Get them beat, get them to where they're thinking about how hot the water is and how quick they can get to the whirlpool, and then all of a sudden give them life, because then it becomes doubly hard to stop them from scoring again.
They're beginning to stir around in the bullpen as Leo Mazzoni makes his way to the mound.
I see Ned Yost and Charlie O'Brien coming out, so there's going to be a pair of them cranking
Mike
up.
Stanton is going to be one of them. And Brad Clontz will be the other. Brian Hunter 0 for 3. He's wrapped into a double play. And another one here would be very timely. This is just what you don't want with a big lead, is to have to get so many people busy in your bullpen. Brian squibs one slowly to short. The only play will be to first, and plenty of time to get Hunter, runner at second, 1 out. He didn't hit that quite hard enough for a double play, and Brian goes 0 for 4. His average down close to 150. He's a much better hitter than that. Here's Brett Boone. Boone is lined to center, popped to third, flied to left. Rank 0-1.
The Boone family has two more sons playing ball. Aaron, I think, is in the Reds organization, and Matthew. That's quite an accomplishment.
Upstairs, a ball and a strike.
Grandpa in the major leagues for a long time. Their dad, Bob Boone, set the standard for defensive catchers in our era, now managing Kansas City. Brett is here, and Aaron and Matthew on the way.
And if Don Sutton ever becomes general manager, and if Bob Boone ever becomes available, I'm pretty sure you two would team up with me.
In a heartbeat. Might surprise you, some of the guys I'd like to hire if I were ever GM.
Well, there's no doubt in my mind about who the announcer would be.
Don't be so sure of yourself.
Well, I didn't necessarily mean me.
Oh, okay. Do you know who I would really try to coax out of a nice, quiet life that he has right now in California? I think one of the most knowledgeable pitchers I was ever around, and certainly he did so many things so well that he was a challenge for me and made me better, is Andy Messersmith. I would love to see Andy Messersmith teaching at the big league level, or teaching somewhere he's too good not to be.
The 1-2 pitch into the dirt, 2-2. Yeah, he had arm problems when he pitched for us, but boy, for a while he really had it going in Atlanta.
And he knew so much about pitching. He was, I mean, when you were around him, if you weren't challenged to be better and if you couldn't learn something, then you had your binders on and you weren't listening.
Who would your hitting coach be?
Probably George Hendrick. I think he does such a great job, and he did a great job when he was playing.
The 2-2. Started to swing. Did he go? No. 3-2. 3-2 on virtually every hitter here except Brian Hunter, who was kind enough to jump on the first one. Greg would like to kick himself out there. The last thing he wants is these 3-2 counts. Nobody knows that more than does he. That should be easy. Runner goes to third. Blauser, quick throw, low throw, good play. McGriff, 2 down. And Reggie Sanders hits with a runner at third and 2 out. Who would your bench coach be?
That's a tough one right there. That is a tough one. Somewhere Davey Lopes would be working.
Yeah, he could be your infield and base running and...
Bob Euchre, just have him around for laughs.
Pete and Joe and I'd do the games if the money was right.
I like it when you get in at least one disclaimer a night.
I can just see talking contract with you. Would that be funny?
Yeah.
You and me going, oh, boy. 1 ball, no strikes. He chased a terrible pitch. It's 1-1. It would be sort of like a double play count. We know each other's moves too well. It could never work. A ball and a strike to count. Downstairs, 2-1.
You know, I wouldn't necessarily hire just the guys that were buddies either. If I thought there was somebody out there that could do the job better, it wouldn't be a matter of whether or not he was a pal or a friend. I think you surround yourself with the absolute best and go out and kick some people's fannies for a few years.
That's low, and it's 3-1.
And what you wrote down there, I wouldn't go that far.
I didn't think you would. 3 balls and a strike. Line drive. Oliva can't get it. A run is in. He might try for 2. It'll be a hit, too hot to handle. And suddenly it's a 9-5 game. And Reggie Sanders is 3 out of 4. And here comes Bobby. He's going to wait until Jeff Branson is announced here. Branson is the pinch hitter. They still have Hal Morris, Ed Taubensee, and Lenny Harris on their bench, too. Mike Stanton gets the call here. And we will be back right after this. Mike Stanton on to pitch. There's your line score. You've got a runner at first and 2 out here, and Branson, the announced hitter, as Mike Stanton completes his warm-up tosses. Mike 1-0, a 4.05. He leads the staff now with 11 appearances. They are, all they have left on their bench is left-handed, Morris, Taubensee, and Harris. So Mike might work the 9th there, too. If he can get Lewis, then he's got Barry, Hill, Walton, and the top of the order in the 9th. On the top of the order is another left-hand hitter, Deion Sanders. So we're about ready to go. Branson hit a home run as a pinch hitter earlier this year for the Reds, if I'm not mistaken. He's hitting just 167. And I am mistaken. He's 0 for 3 as a pinch hitter. He does have a homer and 3 RBI.
They do it to get ice off the driveway, though, don't they? Chop. Read the sign.
Oh, I was watching the game. I thought that's what I was supposed to do. What did the sign say?
There's a first for everything, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, I guess you folks saw it, so the heck with it. Branson stands in. Breaking ball for a strike. A good start for Stanton.
He probably has a lot of friends and family here. He's from over in Alabama, and my memory serves me correct. He was a product of that Livingston State University program out of Alabama.
Lives in Millery, Alabama. Hit .284 for the Reds last year. And he's in the hole 0-2.
Wasn't he the guy last year that had trouble against the Braves pitching because he was wearing a huge brace on his knee? And he couldn't push off that back leg.
Yeah, that's right.
Must be better because there's no brace this year.
Just stayed alive. Runner at first, 2 down. He lost the battle for the second base job a year ago to Brett Boone, because one reason that he lost it was that Boone had a great year. Another reason was that injury. Oh, man. That's got to be embarrassing. Down 9-5 in the 8th inning. A runner is picked off base. He had another runner thrown out stealing, up by 6. Very nice, Mike. We go to the bottom half of the 8th inning. The Braves lead is 9-5.
Bottom of the 8th, Braves 9-5. Reds in one more time. That's tomorrow. Steve Avery on the mound for the Braves. John Smiley will get the start for the Reds. We'll have it all for you beginning at 1:05 Eastern Time, right here on TBS.
Bunch of changes for the Reds. Thomas Howard stays in the game to play right field. Jeff Branson stays in the game to play third base. Scott Sullivan is now the pitcher. 36,058 the announced attendance tonight. I don't think there are quite that many people in the ballpark, but a goodly turnout, and Rafael Belliard leads off against Sullivan. You saw his numbers. Belliard, his first hit of the year. He made it count. He drove in a run in the 6-run 4th inning. He also scored one. And he takes a pitch outside. 1 ball, no strikes. The Reds have not put out their media guide yet. They have a 40-man roster guide, and Sullivan does not happen to be in that particular book.
Looks like he could make right-handers very uncomfortable, though. He throws from the right, from the side, a good fastball, likes to sink it down and away.
He's not in Who's Who in baseball either. He's not in the baseball register either.
I wonder if he's supposed to be here.
He might be in the almanac. Hal is checking that. Baseball America almanac. But he's a fine-looking right-hander, about 6'3", 205 pounds. And he gives up a well-hit ball that Dion will close on. 1 out. He almost misjudged it. 1 away. Last year, Sullivan was 11-7 with a 3.41 earned run average at Chattanooga in the Southern League, so he's made a big jump. Mike Kelly is the batter. He's out of Carrollton, Alabama. So he's got friends and family mad at us, I'll bet, because we don't know more about him. He's 24 years old.
Reds always seem to scout this area
They've
well.
always had a lot of players, haven't they?
Yeah, out of Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, and also
the Dodgers have done that too. Not just you. A lot of guys have come out of this part of the world. Montreal, the kid in left field, Marquise Grissom.
Right.
Rondell White. I went blank on the name for a moment. He's a guy from down in Gray, Georgia. Fine-looking young player. And the Braves, I think, have upgraded themselves in this area. Kids like George Lombard, out of the Atlanta area, and a terrific young prospect. But they're not just all from home. There's kids like Glenn Williams from Australia in the Braves organization. He's struggling this year, but he's still just a baby.
See, that is the new era in scouting. A lot of players from overseas.
A lot of people say that, not this next expansion, but within 10 years or so, Mexico City might be a major league franchise holder.
All the Caribbean and Latin American countries absolutely love the game and play it year-round.
High fly down the right side. Long run for Howard. Still coming into the bullpen, and he's not going to get there. 2-2 on Mike Kelly. Well, it's great to have a Korean pitcher in the Dodger organization, and now Hideo Nomo from Japan. There's going to be a day, I'll bet you. I don't know if we'll be around to see it, where when these big SSTs and
there'll be a true World Series.
That's right. Tokyo against New York, or hopefully Atlanta. Kelly called out on strike. Oh, he is struggling. 2 down.
I guess a step has already been made in that direction because a Canadian city has already won the World Series. Toronto has been world champion. Montreal might have been on the way to it last year. Who knows?
They sure look like it. They had the best record in baseball. Clontz continues to throw in our bullpen. Marquise Grissom has 1 hit. It was a big one, a 3-run homer. He's also hit a sacrifice fly, fly to center, fly to right. He's hitting the ball in the air more than...
And to the right side more than I remember.
Hit that ball hard, but again, right at him. Larkin throws him out, and the inning is over. 1-2-3. Scott Sullivan gets him. And we move on to the 9th inning with your score. As Brad Clontz enters the game, Braves 9, Reds 5.
Top of the night, time for us to take a look at our Turtle Wax leaderboard. Our category tonight, multi-hit games in the National League. No surprise, Karros is there, the good start he's off to. And right here, Larkin has 10 of them. Mike Piazza, who is going to be out for a little while, has 8. Our Turtle Wax leaderboard.
And Brad Clontz is in. Branson will hit against him. He was at the plate when Reggie Sanders was picked off. So yeah, now you have the right-hand pitcher against the left-hand hitter. The pitch is all the way to the backstop. 1 ball, no strikes.
With 14 pitchers and having the roster probably going to lop off 3 pitchers, I'm a little surprised to not see one of the younger guys out there that maybe they would want to make a decision on.
Sharply hit into right field. Branson on his way to second. That's the way the 9th inning starts. Damon Berryhill will be the batter.
See where this pitch is. Coming into him, Branson, pretty much a pull hitter, just happened to pick the right spot. McGriff, all he can do, couldn't quite get a glove on it. A perfectly placed ground ball.
Damon Berryhill 0 for 3. He's got catcher speed if you can coax a ground ball out of him. Well, you got the runner at second, so it's going to be a little hard to do. Strike at the knees, inside corner, 0-1.
Ground balls are still good.
That's right. Braves in a position where they can trade a run for an out and still win the game. But just as soon have a 1-2-3 inning. It would be refreshing. A ball and a strike. More activity. Borbon is up in the bullpen, so is Mark Wohlers. The 1-1. He doesn't catch up. It's 1-2. Runner at second, nobody out. Braves on top by 4. They had a 6-run 4th inning tonight. Trying to close the deal here. High drive, right field. Back goes Kelly. He's on the track, but he's got room. And there's the first out. Branson tags goes to third, and Berryhill just missed getting that little darling out of here. Lenny Harris will come out here to hit for Walton.
It's the same pitch Eddie Taubensee hit last night. It's a breaking ball that he tries to backdoor. Probably what Brad is going to find as he gains more experience is that he's probably going to be more successful against lefties, throwing the hard sinker down and away and then using something off speed off of that. If he's going to throw the breaking ball, throw it inside for effect, get a guy to pull it foul, but not leave it in the middle of the strike zone.
Infield back, of course, for Atlanta, willing to concede a run for an out. Lenny Harris hitting .313. Hit that one twice, but it only counts as 1 strike, 0-1.
See, that was the hard sinker. Now for a little variety, take a little something off of it, a little bit further away.
Low and inside, a ball and a strike. A good one going in Houston. The Phils and Astros 4-4 in the 5th inning. Florida cooling off Colorado. It's 8-2 as Colorado hits in the 9th. Ball and 2 strikes. Now the count. Fans down below trying to get the wave started, but maybe a little too late tonight.
I hope so.
Just missed.
Good pitch.
2-2.
That's a good pitch. Now with a different count, if you want to throw the breaking ball, start it there. Pretty good chance you get a guy to chase it inside off the plate.
Ground ball. McGriff has it. Takes it himself. A run scores. 2 out. Harris drives in a run with an infield out. It's a 9-6 ball game. And of concern here has to be the fact that the bullpen again has pitched. If they get Dion out, 2 innings and given up 3 runs. It's got to get better. It's just got it. Dion 1 for 4. Singled, scored in the 1st. think the boos directed at him in Atlanta are more because he's no longer a Falcon than they are because of his no longer being a Brave. 1 ball, no strikes.
I don't know. Some of his quotes in the last year have been very derogatory, not only against the Braves, but the whole organizations, and specifically John Sherholtz, and I just don't think that's a good idea.
A little bit outside, 2-0. Throw him a strike, Brad. You don't want to face Larkin.
This is where you got to know what's on the stat sheet that's published. He's walked once this year.
Low, 3-0. It's a 9-6 game. If you lose him, you're 1 hitter away from the tying run coming to the plate. And the count is 3 balls, no strikes. They walked him on 4 pitches. Now here's Larkin.
That's hard to do.
Larkin, a 2-run homer, a triple, a walk, a solo homer.
Fred McGriff just asked Bobby Cox. You saw Bobby shake his head and wave his hand. Do you want me to hold him on? And the answer is no.
His run means very little. Thomas Howard, the on-deck hitter. Sanders should not get a stolen base there. That should be defensive indifference, and that's the call.
Or total indifference.
And Leo Mazzoni to the mound to talk to Clontz, who has thrown 5 straight outside the strike zone. A switch hitter, Thomas Howard, is next, so. The righty-lefty thing doesn't really enter into play. Howard, however, has batted only once right-handed. He is 3 out of 13 left-handed. And Bob Davidson says enough is enough.
Bob Davidson said, I could have told him that. Throw a strike and I'll call it.
Bob, I'm sure, would like nothing more than to call strikes here. It's been a long night behind the plate. Well, let's see if Brad can throw one here. Or 3 for that matter. Two 2-0. A walk brings the tying run to the plate. A strike at the knees, 2-1.
I think the 4 greatest assets you can have as a relief pitcher is good stuff, thick skin, bad hearing, and a short memory.
Control maybe should fit in there.
Control would work in there too.
The 2-1 pitch. 2-2. So he's come back to even the count.
Probably what Leo told him, and I think what you should tell every young pitcher is trust your stuff. It was good enough to get you here. Now throw it in the strike zone. Let those 8 other guys work.
Larkin awaits the 2-2 pitch. Now he steps out. Now everybody's ready. And the 2-2 almost hit him. Full count, 3-2. Larkin's been around. He would love to draw a walk here, despite the big night that he's had, because that gives his team a chance to tie the game. They've won 6 in a row. The 3-2 pitch. He walked him, and the tying run comes to the plate. And that's going to be all for Brad Clontz. And Pedro Borbon is going to get the call. So 2 tough nights in a row for Brad Clontz. Got to shake it off and bounce back. We'll bounce back right after this message. Pedro Borbon has had 3 good outings in a row. This is a different spot, however. He's in a spot where he now qualifies for a save in this game.
And he has thrown well in his other outings. He's thrown a very good fastball, a live one, gotten away from trying to sink the ball. Here's what he's done in his last 3. 2 very important columns in my mind, starting with no walks is the no hits. Average a strikeout an inning, and he's gotten most of those on that good live fastball. His best breaking ball is a slurve. It's not a straight downer curve. It's not a quick, sharp slider. But he does have 2+ big league pitches.
Howard has home run power. He had 5 of them last year in 83 at-bats. And a homer here would tie the game, so you know that's what he's thinking of. And another home run hitter is next, Brian Hunter. Almost hit him. 1 ball, no strikes. And he also crossed up Javi Lopez, so they have a meeting and talk things over.
He also threw with a little bit quicker tempo than in his other outings. Got a lot of things to worry about when you, or to think about when you have youngsters coming into ball games like this. You want to see them succeed, but how do you build confidence? Do you need confidence to be successful?
Curve high, the runner is still unmolested. Doesn't matter, it's 2-0. Can't throw a strike here.
And it's not the time to go to your second or third best pitch either.
Again, it's defensive indifference. Oh, they give him a steal that time, the pitch. There's a strike right through there, 2-1. I would have made that defensive indifference too, but who cares? We have more pressing problems. 3-1. If you lose him, and bring Wohlers in to pitch to Hunter, he's not going to pitch to Hunter. He'll pitch to Hal Morris in all likelihood. Brad Woodall is now in the bullpen as well. Strike 2 call. Howard was headed for first, begging.
See, that looks more like an aimed fastball than the nice loosey-goosey giddy-up delivery we saw before. It looked like throwing a dart. Let me see if I can hit that outside corner.
3-2 pitch. Struck him out. Ball game over. I think Pedro Borbon just saved himself a trip to Richmond. And the Braves finally win one, and Borbon gets a major league save and totals and highlights after this.
And after we tell you who our AutoZone player of the game is, he had himself a good night. Marquise Grissom, 3-run homer, sac fly, a total of 4 RBIs. That turned out to be a big difference in the ball game. We'll be back to wrap it up right after this. This wasn't one to have mounted and put on your wall, but we won't throw it back. Braves win it 9-6. 9 runs, 10 hits, no errors, 4 stranded for the Braves. 6-10-2 and a half a dozen stranded for the Reds. Good outing for Glavine. He got over those first inning blues, pitched exceptionally well the rest of the way, going 7 innings. He's 2-1. Pete Smith, the loser. Give Pedro Borbon the first career save. 2 hours and 47 minutes, and a good crowd of 36,000 saw this one, Skip.
And the rubber game of the series tomorrow, battle of lefties. John Smiley on the mound for the Reds. Steve Avery for the Braves. We'll have it for you at 1:05 right here on TBS. Coming up next, the Cheyenne Social Club. Good flick. Henry Fonda and James Stewart, 2 great actors, star. That's next right here on TBS. For Don Sutton, Pete Van Wieren, Joe Simpson, our entire crew. Skip Caray from the ballpark. Hope you'll join us tomorrow. So long, everybody.